Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. Today we are back with another Dragon Ball figure news video where we go over the last 2 weeks of everything that has happened in the world of Dragon Ball figures. We have some very exciting stuff for you today. Not only do we have a couple of new figures to take a look at, we also have some final images of some other characters, and if you guys did not see last week's video, we talked about the Ichiban Kuji Buu Saga that is going to be coming up. I guess I should say Buu Saga Ichiban Kuji would be the correct way to say that. So definitely go check out that video if you have not seen it for more information on the full set. We are going to get a couple more images of those guys as well, but as per usual, we're going to start our adventure on dbzfigures.com, and then we will move over to Baggy's Twitter. So if you guys have been keeping up with the series, you would know that Bandai has been pumping these out recently, these Dragon Ball acrylic logos, and it looks like they have finally gotten around to hitting us up with a Dragon Ball Super one. Big Bad Toy Store just announced that 3 Bandai acrylic logos are up for pre-order. They include, oh, I see, Goku's Mark and GT as well. That's pretty cool. Prices range from $26 for Goku's Mark to $32.99 for the others. Holy cow. So I'm sure you guys probably remember us talking about this in the video where they announced, I think it was the Dragon Ball Z one. Holy moly, bro. These things are overpriced. Like, maybe you're thinking, oh, the price is justified because it's like this giant thing. Yeah, 2.4 inches, 6.1 centimeters for the Goku stand here. And then as you can see, no way the pre-order sold out for that. I mean, that has to be the GT one is in stock. That's crazy if people actually paid that much for that, considering it is only 4.72 inches high, aka 12 centimeters high. Literally, it's just a clear acrylic stand for your figures, right? Like, that's the whole point. Bandai's been doing these, I assume, right? Here's a little example that they give you, because probably, you know, they figure some people display their figures kind of by series anyway, so then this way they can literally make an official thing for you to buy, and then you can kind of have the series logo in front of it. But like, hot dog, bro, for 32 bucks, I would absolutely just rather make my own. As well, we do have Dragon Ball GT. I do hope that this means that there will be, oh, that is definitely not a that is definitely not a recent GT figure. Wow, they are whipping out some older stuff. This is Dragon Ball Adverge for that one. Obviously this is not necessarily just for like SH Figuarts or something like that. Obviously they use that for the super comparison, but hopefully this does mean more GT figures, because I mean, they have been giving GT some love, especially with SH Figuarts. But yeah, I don't know, man, it is just quite the ridiculous price. So like, again, here's the same measurement, basically the same thing. It's just so crazy to me that they decided to make this like not only just a running thing, right? Because I was like, oh, they'll make the Dragon Ball Z one, and then I guess that'll be that, you know, one overpriced acrylic little stand. But nope, they now have made this into a series. So I guess if you're interested in that, pop off, but definitely not for me at that price point. I think if they were like $5 each, that would be great. Okay, so we did have Dragon Ball Weekly News for May 22nd, 2023. We did have the 30th anniversary. Yeah, the ants had the anniversary, bro. We had the 30th anniversary of V-Jump, which is pretty cool. It is crazy that V-Jump has been running for 30 years. I think that's actually super insane, honestly. But nothing too crazy in terms of figures. The only thing that really got shown was the fact that they were talking about the Tamashii Nations World Tour, which we talked about in the last video, where we covered the Super Saiyan head Goku, that they re-released the old, I forget what the actual specific name of the SH Figuarts figure is, but it's the one with the ripped shirt on Namek, where it's like shirt is ripped in half, right? And obviously, that figure is pretty old now. Not only is it old in terms of like the actual figure itself. I'm trying to find it in here. I'm trying to like skip through to see the little thing. There we go. Yeah, this guy. We talked about him last time. Obviously a re-release of that really old Goku. And I was curious if they were going to make a regular version of this guy or put him up on Premium Bandai for sale, because sometimes they do this with certain event exclusive figures. And we did not get him exactly. However, later in the video, you will see. Yeah, I guess we're going to talk about it right now because it's the next thing up on the list here. Perfect timing on the accidental part of DBZFigures.com. We got the announcement of the SH Figuarts legendary Super Saiyan Goku. As you can see, Bandai just released on the website that we're getting a Super Saiyan Goku. This time, he is still battling Frieza, but he is bare-chested now. Goku also has better articulation, so dare I say 3.0. Yes, I believe this is a 3.0 body figure. Can't wait for Vegeta using this new articulation. Yeah, that would be awesome. Pre-orders start June 1st, and the figure will be releasing in November 2023 with a price of 65,000 yen for about 65 bucks here in the US. No word if this is premium Bandai or something else. We will find out soon enough. This might end up being a regular one because we did get Trunks recently and he was a little bit more expensive than an over-the-counter release. However, he was just a normal over-the-counter release, so I'm kind of hoping that's the case. I don't think we can click on these images because if we click on them, I guess it is zoomed in. I pulled up, though, the official Tamashii Nation's Instagram post for this. Yeah, so as you can see, this guy's going to retail for around $70 to $65, it seems. Maybe he'll be a little bit less, but it will be interesting to see what they actually end up pricing this guy. However, I will say, holy cow, I think he looks really, really good. This is a huge upgrade from that super old figure. It is really interesting, I will say, that they are releasing this guy right after giving us the event exclusive one with like the half ripped shirt, right? And funny enough, I've talked about for a while, or I mean, I guess not talked about for a while, but I've talked about, I don't remember if I mentioned it in a video. I think I did in my cooler video, but I really wanted a Super Saiyan Goku that didn't have the shirt on to pair with my cooler, right? Because obviously in that movie, his shirt is completely off and he's Super Saiyan. So this will actually be a perfect version of Goku to pair with that. Maybe you'll have to give him different legs that actually have pants, but you could always just pop the top half off, you know, and give him to another figure. But holy cow, this guy looks really, really good. Let's see, do they have any other pictures on here that aren't on the Instagram post? No. So it looks like in terms of face plates, right, we're going to have, unfortunately on Instagram, by the way, you can't open a new tab, so we can't zoom in, because even if I try and do that, it'll just do this, because Instagram is a stinky website, so you just have to look at it like this. But we have Goku with a little smirk, which is pretty cool. As you can see, we have the closed fist hand and a little bit of the combat pose hand, which is pretty cool. The rip pants look awesome, by the way. I think they did a great job on that. We have the gritting teeth face here, which it looks great. I love the way that the eyes are shaped. Very, very anime-esque and very, very faithful to Goku's design. I will say, I don't know if I like how they did the chest, specifically in this area here, right? Like, I think the chest part looks fine, but the way that they did the joints just looks a little bit weird. It doesn't look as weird on normal SH Figuarts. Well, I can't say normal because, like, that's not really correct to say, but what I mean is that, like, SH Figuarts who are wearing a shirt, right? Because obviously you kind of have the color of the shirt to sort of, like, take your eyes off of the fact that there's a joint there, right? Like, in your brain, it makes a lot more sense. But obviously, since this is a skin tone, it catches your eye a little bit more, and you're like, whoa, hey, hold on, this looks a little bit strange, right? When obviously a lot of the other 3.0 figures, and probably all of them, to be honest, are like this. Even like Super Saiyan 4 Goku looks a little bit better because obviously he just has fur and it kind of like meshes in together. But that is just kind of the, you know, I guess downside. I mean, it's not really a downside because, of course, you know, that's just how articulated figures are. But it's kind of what you have to give up if you want good articulation for a figure. And I always say when it comes to these type of figures, you always want articulation over anything else, I would think. But anyhow, yeah, we do have the screaming face. This also looks fantastic as well. Obviously, this is a very iconic pose for Goku, so this is super cool to see that they included a head specifically for this as well. I believe this is the same gritting teeth face. Let's see. No, those eyes look a little bit bigger than this one, unless it's just hard to tell. But it does seem like he comes with a Kamehameha effect as well, which is pretty cool. I feel like we haven't gotten one included in a recent SH Figuarts figure in some time, so that is very nice to see that included in there. This, I think, is the same screaming face, is it? Yeah, I believe that's the same screaming face as that one, but obviously this works super well for the Kamehameha. Of course, the Kamehameha, what did I just say? The Kamehameha hands, right? It's a tongue twister right there. Obviously come with this guy, right? Makes sense because, of course, he has the Kamehameha pieces, and I believe this is just a face that we saw before, too, obviously with a good kick. This is some crazy articulation if the figure can actually hold this pose with the toe bending there, because this looks like balancing out this weight looks like a nightmare. So if the figure can actually pose like that, that's crazy. And then we have the neutral face. I will say, weirdly enough, I feel like the neutral face, like his cheeks look a little puffy, which is kind of weird, but I feel like all the other faces look like basically spot on. So I don't know, I'm really excited for this guy personally. I was honestly thinking about picking up the Super Saiyan Goku with like the half ripped shirt from eBay. So to be 100% honest with you, I'm pretty excited about this myself, because obviously this is a much better option that will be a lot cheaper. I mean, it's still not cheap for sure, but it'll be a cheaper option than that event exclusive, like clear hair Super Saiyan Goku that we took a look at in the last couple of figure news videos. The one from the Tamashii Nations event that we talked about that Dragon Ball Figure News covered. So very exciting stuff. We will eventually get a proper release date for this, I'm sure. As you can see right now, it literally just says November 2023. So we will see when we actually get a date. Of course, I will mention it in a video. But pre-orders do open on June 1st, which I will say is kind of weird that they mentioned that detail, considering the day that I'm filming this is the day that this is going up, which is the 28th. So pre-orders will go up Thursday of this week. And like, it doesn't say where to pre-order it. You know, you would think they would mention like, oh, it's Premium Bandai and that's where it's going to go up for pre-order, or, you know, oh, it's just like pre-order for all retailers, like that's the street date that the retailers can have it up for pre-order. I don't know, just kind of weird that they mention a pre-order date, but like, you know, not where to pre-order it. So I'm sure when June 1st comes along this week, we will probably know not only the proper price in USD, but obviously the actual release date for this guy. So definitely keep an eye out for that. I will probably like quote retweet it or something like that on the Dokkan Assets account, where you can actually pre-order this guy, because I'm not going to make like a separate video or anything like that. But just keep your eyes out for official Twitter stuff. And as well, obviously, you can always follow Tamashii Nations on Instagram here as well, by the way. I know, completely irrelevant, but I'm so hyped for this. Holy cow. They also had a little video, too, speaking of Dragon Ball, setting up the display for Metal Cooler at the Tamashii Nations World Tour event, which obviously is what we've been talking about this video, that has the clear hair Super Saiyan Goku. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, this is the type of thing that like I would love to see them do more of, because I feel like we never get to see like the behind the scenes for this type of thing. So this is honestly a pretty cool little video. I'm not gonna lie. Again, I really wish this guy wasn't as expensive, because I think he looks really, really good. Like, especially seeing the figure in person like that. Like, holy cow, dude. He looks great. But anyhow, yeah, that is it for the Tamashii account and for my boy Goku. Definitely excited to see more info on him for sure. And I believe that is actually it in terms of everything besides this, which would be the pre-orders for Goku and Kid Buu and Gohan and Deborah. Now, ladies and gentlemen, place your bets. Are we going to be getting reasonably priced figures? Let's find out. I am guessing it's probably going to be a no. I actually haven't even looked at this yet, because I did not realize it was like the pin tab on here. Let me actually close those two things. We'll go through this together. Yep, that's kind of what I was thinking was going to be the case. $60 for Goku. Obviously very far from what it should be, which is the $36 mark for the Ichiban Kuji figures. $47.99 for Kid Buu. Wow, okay. That's actually less than I thought it was going to be for Deborah, to be 100% honest with you. I was thinking that he was going to be like 90 or something like that, because they love to, you know, be crackheads with these prices. But nope, seems like that's... I mean, I don't know if I would say decent, but I mean, I guess it's better than what I was expecting, right? We'll take a look at the pictures of all of them in a second. Actually, we'll look at it on Baggy's Twitter, because I know he has all the angles. And for Gohan, $60 as well. Again, when it comes to the overseas prices of these figures, I would never, ever, ever recommend buying them for this high of a price. They are not worth this much. Bandai has not upped the size or the quality control of these figures to justify the incredible the incredible price, increase from what it was when they were 36 bucks a pop. So definitely, again, that might be an import for you, although I don't know how many people are going to be interested in this set, because it's definitely a bit of a mixed bag for sure. I mean, we don't get Dabura figures very often, but still. Nonetheless, though, that is the boys. Again, we will take a look at all the angles when we go to Baggy's Twitter, because we're about to go there right now anyhow, and I know he posted them as well. To start us off, by the way, we do have the ratios for the figures. So prize A, which I believe is, Gohan, I thought that was going to be Goku, is 2. Unfortunately, Dabura is 1. By the way, I guess I should say this real quick. Hydrate or dihydrate. When it comes to these, this basically means the ratios that the stores are going to get. So a store that is holding an Ichiban Kuji, right, when it comes to the whole set, how many of each figure are they going to get? So like every store that holds the actual lottery for these in Japan is going to get 2 Gohans, 1 Dabura, 2 Kid Buus, 2 Gokus, and then prize E is not this guy. This is the last one prize, so there's only going to be 1 per store. But apparently prize E is a visual stand, so that'll be interesting to see what those end up looking like. But it's interesting that Dabura is only 1 and the rest of them are 2. I'm honestly kind of surprised that 2 is Kid Buu, but I'm thinking that's because now he's gotten a couple of figures under his belt, so, you know, they can afford to not to jip you on, you know, only making a limited amount, be out in the wild there. Yes, this was very interesting. Apparently there's going to be no Ichiban show for Europe for this set. Obviously, we just saw that the US is going to be getting it because, of course, Big Bad Toy Store has it up for pre-order. But unfortunately, Europe is not going to be getting this as a Ichiban show. This, yeah, we talked about this last time, but yeah, $100 for this 13-centimeter figure. Absolutely insane, even though the figure looks pretty cool. Still, literally, like, what are they thinking for that big of a figure for that much money? That's crazy. I do not usually cover other stuff like a whole lot. Occasionally I throw a couple of other pieces of merch, but I do always like to take a look at these because they're just so cool. The wafer stickers, and the other reason why I like to take a look at these as well is because the wafer sticker arts a lot of the time get made into minifigures in the wafer sticker figure line. So we could potentially get figures of all of these. There's a chance for any of them to be there. And holy cow, the Dragon Ball Super superhero stuff looks awesome. I might actually have to buy a box of this set just to see if I can't cop the boy Gohan Beast, because that Gohan Beast art is crazy. Piccolo also looks hilarious. Look how big his arms look compared to his body, especially his big cranium. Holy cow. Cell Max and Gamma 2 also look really cool as well. And then we have, I believe these are the secret rare cards. Very cool. Looks like all the Goku transformations, or at least I guess the Dragon Ball Super Goku transformations, as well as for Vegeta. And then, or maybe it's supposed to be like his 5 strongest transformations, something like that. I guess that would apply for Vegeta. Interesting. Yeah. And then obviously Broly doesn't have as many transformations as the boys. But yeah, very cool. Definitely some interesting stuff. Yeah, I might have to cop this set for the superhero cards, because holy cow, or the superhero stickers rather. Alright, so we do have some IRL pictures of the DXF Gohan Beast. We will actually be getting a little bit of a side-by-side of this later in this video, because I know Baggy made a couple tweets about it, but obviously whenever the arcades get the figure, they always post a couple of pictures of the new stuff that they get, and so with that, we get to see the new figures in the store. And I will say, he does look pretty good. Obviously, this is a very highly anticipated figure, as this is technically the first Gohan Beast prize figure. If memory serves, he should be the first one that is releasing and was the first one that got announced. I think overall he does look pretty good. Let's go back to these images that are a little bit brighter. Definitely like this guy, I will say. He definitely has a lot less shading than the Ultimate Gohan, which we will see a comparison to later. But I think overall, he's pretty cool. Very basic Gohan Beast figure, right? Like, nothing crazy to write home about. This definitely looks super lanky. This might just be the camera angle, but, like, he looks very weird there. Like, his build is extremely strange on the backside, but from the front there, obviously, he looks fine. I don't know, because, like, his body is like has that kind of general shape that we saw just on that backside image, but it doesn't look nearly as weird as that one. Figure sculptor Araki, I of course had to, you know, but of course, figure sculptor Araki, right, has not formally posted about the Ichiban Kuji Goku on the Nimbus. However, he did retweet and post, or sorry, did a retweet about them, rather. I mean, I guess just retweeting a tweet generally talking about them. I actually don't know if I follow this guy, so I'm gonna have to follow him. Apparently his at is man sculpt. That's funny. But apparently he is the one who sculpted them, so we'll have to keep our eye out to see if he sculpts anything else in the future. We have the scans of the Dragon Ball Ichiban Kuji for June. Obviously, we saw all of this stuff already, but it is cool to see this stuff in the magazine, in the V-Jump magazine. We do have Gohan Beast here talking about a little bit of a comparison. This is quite interesting, if I do say so myself, the size difference between the Ichiban Kuji Orange Piccolo and the DXF Gohan Beast. He is certainly a lot bigger than I thought he was going to... Excuse me. Oh my gosh. Bless me, bro. Holy cow. That sneeze came out of nowhere. That snuck up on me too. Anyhow, yeah, look how big he is compared to Piccolo. Definitely kind of unexpected. I was thinking that he would be a lot shorter. I even talked about, I believe, in the last video that this guy would be like a decent comparison with Piccolo, because you could kind of justify it by saying like, oh, Piccolo is the giant version of Orange Piccolo, and then the DXF one was like regular size Piccolo. But clearly, not even really, because Gohan Beast is still pretty tall, all things considered. I don't know if that is a testament to how big his hair is and how tall Gohan Beast is, or if that is like Piccolo kind of getting the short end of the stick, quite literally in this case, being a little bit too short. I'm not really sure which way that would go. Also, Gohan looks like he's leaning a little bit, which is definitely not good to see. A lot of the DXF superhero figures had kind of had that problem so far, unfortunately. But yeah, as you can see, apparently the official height for Gohan Beast was 17 centimeters. But as we talk about in every single video, you can't trust Bandai even with their own product, because with the base, he is 22.5 centimeters. Where the heck they are getting 17 from, right? I have no idea, because you would think they would be able to measure their own figure correctly, but clearly not. That is super whack that he is actually that much bigger. So that's why I always say in these videos, right, and why we can never trust Bandai's, you know, numbers when it comes to how tall these figures actually are, because, you know, they come out nowhere near the actual size. This is just one example. Also, BOS Gohan, obviously we've been taking a look at this guy, right? This is the history box Gohan, but BOS is also said to have 5 centimeters more, including the tip of the hair. So, by the way, he's talking about in comparison to DXF Gohan. So that means the history box Gohan, this guy, should be about 17 to 19 centimeters, if 12 centimeters is the official height, not taking into account the base of this figure. So a little bit of a guessing game, right? We'll have to obviously see once the figure properly drops what the actual height of this guy is. But it will be interesting to see if this is sort of a, I guess, like little bit of a standard to go off of in the future in terms of, you know, a little bit that we can add for the heights. Very interesting stuff, though. We also have a couple of close-ups here. Unfortunately, as Baggy notes, the DXF Beast doesn't look too great. Hopefully, BOS and HB turn out better, since they are the ones that most people are interested in. Yeah, obviously, this is a pretty basic Gohan Beast figure, and I think people are definitely more interested in the history box one. But you can see that this guy kind of has an ugly paint job. I mean, unfortunately, this was sort of to be expected, as the DXF line has kind of been treated a little poorly, to be honest with you, in recent time, which is a shame because the line was really great back in the day. But you can see the like glue right there, right, that's holding them together. The paint looks very sloppy. I mean, really on the whole thing, but especially right here, right, it looks like very cheap paint, if I do say so myself, right. You can see that this is not even close to the same skin tone as Gohan actually has here, that is supposed to be like the little rip under the shirt. And this is definitely a case where they did this after the fact rather than doing it before. I always talk about in my videos that I feel like whenever there's like ripped clothes in Dragon Ball, right, when it comes to figures, the best way to do it is sculpt the figure and then put the ripped clothes around them rather than sculpting it all and then opening the little hole and putting it in there like that, right, for what skin would then be exposed from the little tear. But you can tell that that is definitely the route that they went for this, because holy cow, that does not look good. And like, where is that supposed to be? Like, is this just supposed to be like a mark on his skin? I don't know. That might be something that's going to get a repaint, to be honest with you. But yeah, a little yucky, to be honest with you. And you can also see the overspray where the purple of the gi is now on his actual skin. You can also see the line. Ooh, that is really bad. That paint line on the top of his hair. Again, keep in mind, right, you can see more of it there. His face does look pretty good, though, I will say. I think when it comes to this sort of thing, right, and I do talk about this, and sometimes I do kind of knock figures for this, but I do feel like I should be a little bit less harsh. However, it is Bandai, so I'm just inclined to rip on them because they don't care about the consumer. But, I mean, obviously, this is one figure, and of course, one product can have defects, but when it comes to Bandai, a lot of the time, it seems like a lot of the figures share this. Like, this was a thing with the Gamma DXF figures, where a lot of people were reporting that they were leaning, right? Like, it kind of looks like from this one. I mean, granted, I guess it is sort of like a top angle, so it's hard to tell if he's leaning, but we were talking about in this image, right, it kind of looks like Gohan's leaning a little bit to the side. But then in this image, it kind of looks like he isn't, so... you know, I don't know. But nonetheless, definitely a little bit of a shame. Hopefully my copy does not turn out like this, because I am getting one of these guys for the channel to do a video on. So yeah, we already talked about the prices of these guys. I believe we will actually see individual images of all of the angles of these, so we can actually take like a more detailed look at them. But there's a quick rundown of all the angles. If we don't, we'll go back to that. Also, apparently the September Ichiban Kuchi acrylic stand is a redraw of this illustration. Interesting that this is what they're picking, I guess, because it's Majin Buu Saga. I suppose that makes sense. Sandline Ichiban Show is $45 if you're interested in that. And unfortunately, we have a little bit of bad news in terms of the boy Goku here, right? So obviously, the one on the right is the Bye Guys Goku from the Ichiban Kuji set we were talking about earlier in the video, and we talked about in the last video. Apparently, they just reused the Goku from that Ichiban Kuji. And I was going to say, I kind of felt like his legs looked a little bit awkward in the Bye Guys Goku, because I swear his legs were like not just down, you know, like I swear that they weren't just like in a neutral pose. Like I swear they had more of something interesting. But it seems like they just reused it from these pants, right? Kind of unfortunate, to say the least. Like, you can see that this is quite literally the same sculpting all the way through, and they just decided to add a couple of like rips in different places to try and make it more accurate to, obviously this is like the Namek rips, and then this would be like the Buu Saga ones. I don't think Baggy responded to my tweet, but funny enough, I noted that I'm pretty sure for the orange part, right, that's supposed to be like his ripped, the part that goes over his blue shirt that he wears, right, the iconic orange gi, I think they quite literally just flip the rip, right? You can see that here it's going down and like on the sides, and this middle piece is going up, and here the two sides are going up and the middle piece is going down. So they quite literally just yoinked these pants and retooled them a small bit. I know for a lot of people, right, this sort of thing doesn't really matter, and I get that, right? But it's just such a shame where all of these other anime get figures that are, you know, a lot more care seems to be put into them. When it comes to Dragon Ball, we just get reused stuff over and over. And not only is that not fun for, like, collectors, right? Because obviously then it's just the same thing over and over and over. You're literally buying the same figure again and again. But it just feels like a scummy business practice. You know, it kind of feels like, you know, I don't know, somebody like selling you the same thing over and over again every year. Wow, Call of Duty and Pokemon. And I'm a huge Pokemon fan saying that. But obviously this is a little bit more different than that. This is a physical object. I don't know. It's like the same company trying to sell you the same type of silverware and just like making it a different color and making the length of the like fork sporks or whatever you call the spikes at the end of a fork different lengths. I don't know. You understand what I'm trying to go for here. I know it's not a big deal to some, and obviously I suppose when it comes to something like this, maybe it makes sense for a company to do something like this because then it just saves them resources and they don't have to worry about, you know, like making a whole new figure, and then they can make a quick buck from obviously just doing something a little bit more easy. But that also doesn't sound good saying that out loud. You know what I mean? Like that definitely doesn't sound like a good thing. So definitely let me know your comments below on that one. I would love to hear your thoughts on what you think of that. We do have, I know there's one more thing. Yeah, I was going to say, Crunchyroll reduced Kid Goku, which is actually pretty cool. Gohan and Roshi pre-orders, all three of them actually, sorry, I thought that was only Goku for some reason, to $38, which is actually a really good price. Obviously, I've talked about before that I feel like the price that Ichiban Kuji should be is the $36 mark, because obviously, you know, that is like just how it's been for so long, and that seems like a fair price for the quality of the figures. So kind of unfortunate that this was just kind of a quick thing. Definitely need to keep my eye on Crunchyroll then to see. And this is why it's always good to occasionally, if you are into collecting figures and you're always trying to get the best price for this type of stuff, that's why it's good to always keep your eye out and just occasionally check websites and stuff, because you might find a good deal like this upon looking around. Quick little bit of September info. For week 2 of September, we will be getting the release of Go 10. That's a pretty cool present, my figure, actually. Week 3, we will be getting the boy Gohan Beast, so that will be pretty cool. Week 4, we will be getting both of the Piccolos, and then week 5 will be the Funny Sandland Man. So definitely keep an eye out in September for those bad boys. I know for a fact up here, yep, I knew we had these pictures coming up. Oh, the Funny Sandland Man again. We have the multi-angles for these bad boys right here. For Deborah, I think he looks really good, honestly. Like, I think that this is just a very solid looking Deborah figure. It's really a shame that this guy is so expensive, right? Because honestly, if this was not a modern Ichiban Kuji figure, I would honestly cop this guy, because at least for me personally, I know I kind of want to get like one of every Dragon Ball character in figure form. I guess that's kind of like my end-all be-all goal, and I already have a million Gokus on the way there. But, you know, it would just be kind of cool, and obviously Deborah does not get figures often, so it's kind of a shame that he is so overpriced, because this is a pretty decent Deborah figure. I will say, albeit a little bit blocky, which is kind of interesting. You can see some lines right there, by the way. I'm pretty sure on his design he does not have lines down his legs like that. But yeah, very blocky, like on the, like it kind of, obviously it's like rounded off, but you know what I mean. Like it's a very just sort of square shape, I guess. Here is Gohan. Obviously, we did take a look at that last time, but this does look pretty good. I still feel like that's a really cool shot. I feel like something about his face, though, is still, like, putting me off a little bit. I don't know. Something about it just looks this, like, taddest bit off. We do have a prize figure of this, by the way, so if you would like this in figure form, it is basically the exact same thing. The Clear Rise line just recently released a figure of this exact same Gohan. But overall, I think the sculpt looks pretty decent. We have the boy Kid Buu, also pretty good looking. I really like the expression on this guy for sure. Also, ooh yeah, like that they also got the details on the back too. My man definitely going to have some back problems with how he has his posture there, though. We obviously have the gold on the belt too, and then we have the boy reused by guys Goku. I think it looks okay, right? I do think that they could have maybe done a little bit of a better job on the face, right, in terms of like the iconic by guys shot, but it's not too bad, right? I also feel like he also looks very blocky. It must just be the sculptor style, but I feel like this whole like set looks very like squared off. There's not a lot of like rounded edges. Even on the parts that are round, they still feel kind of blocky to me. I don't know. They think it must just be the artist's style. I believe we will see more pictures of this guy later, but we did have the release of the Solid Edgeworks BoJack movie Trunks, and I gotta say, I am very impressed with how this figure turned out. I was really, really hoping that this guy would turn out good, because obviously we never, ever get figures from the BoJack movie. So very, very exciting that this guy actually turned out super solid. Solid Edgeworks, get it? Very, very nice looking. I love the look of the base form as well. If I do say so myself, they nailed it on the face. That looks like Trunks to a T to me. I think this guy looks absolutely fantastic as well. Of course, we do have the Super Saiyan variant, which I will say, personally, I thought that the base form one looked a little bit better in the face department, and I kind of still do. However, I actually think that the final version of the figure, this one that we're looking at here, actually looks better than the production images, which is great, because I feel like a lot of the time when I say that about a figure, that I'm like, oh yeah, you know, we'll see how the final image looks, and usually I feel like the final image always, or the final figure rather, I mean, I guess technically also the final image, because we're looking at an image of it, but the final version of the figure, I feel like, always looks a little bit worse, if not just the same as the production images. So I feel like it is a little refreshing, to say the least, to have a figure that actually looks better than the original production images. So yeah, pretty exciting on that front, honestly. I think he looks really, really good. I would say both of these guys are definitely worth picking up if you are a fan of this Trunks. I think I am personally going to pick up the base form version of this guy. I just really, really like this look for the character. I think it's really cool. I mentioned on a previous video that I would be covering this figure because obviously it's Masuko Nozawa, and of course, how could we not? They had a little pop-up display for the figure, as you can see here, which is pretty cool, where you could go and see a little display. This is so funny, right? Like this little figure that looks so nice, right? Literally displayed in this tiny box with this giant display that is like as big as these doors. I think that's just like, something is so funny about that, but it's cool. So this is where things get exciting, folks. Obviously in the last video we talked about the fact that in the video that you're watching right now, we would most likely be seeing the production images of Vegito, Buuhan, and Frieza, and lo and behold, here they are. Whoo, baby. This is really, really cool. Definitely, I love the look of the boy Vegito here. I feel like his face is absolutely perfect. And you know, if I'm saying that, it's a good face, because I am always super picky about the faces on my Dragon Ball figures. And Hot Dog, my man, looks fantastic, if I do say so myself. I cannot wait to see this figure from more angles. And of course, this guy being a matchmaker's figure, he pairs with Buuhan. And Buuhan actually looks really, really good as well. I feel like it is a little bit easier to make figures of the more alien characters in Dragon Ball, quote unquote, right? Like the characters that I guess just don't look like humans or Saiyans. Because of course, you know, they're, well, I mean, in Buuhan's case, literally a monster, right? So if they don't look exactly how they look, it kind of is a little bit more like excusable in your brain, I feel like. Or it just kind of makes a little bit more sense because, I mean, especially with Buuhan, he can just transform into anything that he wants to look like, right? But nonetheless, this is a great figure. Looks exactly like Buuhan. I love the look of this. I think the Obi belt, the gi is what I meant to say, excuse me, looks really, really good. Obviously the Gohan gi on him, the Majin belt, the shoes, as well as, of course, Buuhan, I mean, I guess technically Gohan. Buuhan's visage, his face looks fantastic. Really, really like how this figure turned out. He's literally making me trip over my words, bro. He's that good. I'm really excited about this. Hydrate or dihydrate. And of course, it's always exciting to see characters that are super under-commercialized get a figure as well. Because I can't even tell you the last time that we got a Buuhan figure. It was probably a mini figure. It was probably like a high-grade figure or something like that that's like out of a Gashapon machine. So very, very awesome that we are actually getting like proper Buuhan figures and just Majin figures in general, because we really don't get that many figures of the Majin characters, so that is pretty cool. And of course, I did mention the boy Full Power Frieza. He also looks really, really good. We were talking about in the last video that we actually did not know what version of Frieza they were going to pick for the GxMateria 2. I suppose it makes sense that it is Full Power Frieza, considering the fact, sorry, I'm plugging in my phone, and my phone is dying while I'm saying this. Frieza, obviously, for the first GxMateria figure was, of course, the Namek one, right? Where he was the, well, not base form. I mean, I think it's base form now. Like, my brain thinks that, but that's just because Frieza's, like, always in his final form now, like in Dragon Ball Super. But his final form, right? Obviously, with the beam over his head, or I guess the ball, more like it, right? And so it makes sense that obviously they would decide to stick with the Namek theme. And holy cow, is that Fruit Punch on a Dragon Ball figure I see, by the way? I didn't even notice that until looking at that more closely. That is really, really cool to see, because I feel like we barely ever see that on modern Dragon Ball figures, excuse me. So that's cool. Definitely, probably, by the way, for the stand for this guy, for the disc, the funny pizza, it is probably just going to be a little plastic stick that has a little base at the bottom. Probably the same thing as Krillin's Destructo disc. I will say, I would like to look and see if it is just a recolored version of the Destructo disc. I would hope it's actually like a new effect and not just a recolored one. I mean, they do look virtually the same in terms of the attack, but still, you know. Nonetheless, also looks really, really good. We have some more production images of Buuhan and Vegito, and obviously we were really hoping that the way that these guys would set up with each other would be that Buuhan's fist would basically meet with Vegito's foot, and that seems to be the case here. This actually looks like a perfect clash, if I do say so myself, right out of that manga panel where they're going and their fists are flying like crazy, and obviously the kicks from Vegito, right? Very, very cool that you can have this basically match up. I will say, I am really hoping with this guy, right, what he's saying here, that hopefully the bases don't somehow get in the way of this, because the one thing that I could see is the actual, like, base itself, like the part that goes on the ground, or I guess your shelf, being a little bit too big, right? And then these guys can't actually, like, touch like they are in the image. That would be kind of a shame. I guess at that rate you could always just, like, cut down the base a little bit if you really wanted to. But hopefully they kind of think that through. I would think so. But nonetheless, yeah, super fantastic. And obviously with this as well, we have a little bit of different angles for Vegito and Buuhan. Buuhan's back looks great. I really like the way that his arm is kind of cocked back there, obviously for the next punch. His actual back looks really good. And even though it is a little bit blurry, his little head tentacle also looks great. And as well too, the back of Vegito also looks really, really good. I think just overall the way that this figure sculpted looks great. It looks like that he is moving in the direction that like he actually is, because I think Buuhan is like kind of pushing him back and he's blocking with his feet as they're moving backwards. So yeah, looks great. I really, really like how these guys turned out. I am definitely going to cop these guys. Not just to have a Buuhan figure in the collection, but like, bro, these guys look great. We have some multi-angled pictures of Final Form Frieza. As you can see, his tail is properly cut off right there, which is pretty cool to see. And it definitely looks like that his tail is going to be a separate piece in the box, because to me that doesn't just look like a line, right? Like you can see here, these are kind of just like lines on the figure. And obviously it also looks like the head you'll probably have to put on his body, but it looks like you'll also have to actually like stick the tail on there. But yeah, look at that with the shading, or with the lighting rather, excuse me. Holy cow, that looks crazy with the lighting. That looks super awesome. Holy cow. And obviously then we have the other side angle here of that. That looks really good. I am hoping that it is kind of like this clear plastic-ish. I guess it'd be more like clear PVC, right? Because here it looks like it's just painted on purple, but with the lighting here, maybe it is just the lighting that's making it look like that. Either way, though, definitely looks fantastic, if I do say so myself. I'm very excited for this guy. Speaking of the boys, for our October heights, we have Vegito at 14 centimeters, Buuhan at 11, and Frieza at 13. However, keep in mind, obviously, for these guys, we just learned earlier on that they are kind of not to be trusted in terms of the official heights for these figures. So we'll have to see what we actually get for the proper heights for these bad boys. And we do have a couple more angles for Vegito. That angle looks so good, dude. Holy cow. That looks so nice. His face is literally perfect. I'm really hoping that the final product actually turns out like this. Buuhan as well from that angle also looks really good. Absolutely no complaints from me. I think the only thing that maybe these guys could use, and I don't think this is a complaint, this is just more of like a critique or a personal thing. They could definitely add shading, because I feel like, I don't know, maybe in the past, like a lot more Banpresto figures had shading, and these guys definitely do not have that on the figure. However, I don't think that that makes them look bad by any means. That's just a stylistic choice. But it could definitely make them look a little bit more dynamic. However, I think that these guys look really great as they are. They look fantastic, right? Absolutely, like sculpt, paint job. No complaints from me. I'm really hoping that they look like this as the final product, bro. Please, Bandai, don't fumble. I didn't even see this before recording, but apparently a quick correction. It's the other way around. Apparently Vegito is 11 and Buuhan is 14. I suppose that makes sense because obviously Buuhan is pretty big, all things considered. So that makes sense that he's bigger than Vegito. We have the special production image for the GxMateria Frieza. They do like to do these ones where they kind of spice it up a little bit and give us something a little cool, a little edited for the pictures for the production images. So that's pretty cool. You can also see little sparkles there, right, to represent the GxMateria line. And in terms of June figure dates, we are getting the Clear Rise Trunks on June 13th, the GxMateria Goku 3 on the 15th, which is the feet Kamehameha, as you can see, and the Solid Edgeworks Gohan on June 20th. Very interesting thing to note, the brightness of the GxMateria Goku final production image has been jacked way up. So as you can see, this is the brightness of it here, right? And then this is how it originally looked. Look at how muted those colors are. That is another thing, right? When it comes to these figures, why it's also not really good to trust the colors of them, because not only could it just be the lighting of the figure or the person who got the production images and decided to edit the colors up a little bit, right, or not, right, in the case of obviously this being the original image and this being the new one. For the original one, obviously they didn't like edit it at all, so it'll be interesting to see which like version of it the final figure is actually more like, you know, close to in terms of the color scheme. But again, that's why I always say, literally the only thing you can trust about these production images is that the figure will vaguely look like what is on your screen. So unfortunately, there was a prize fair that came and went in Japan over the weekend, and there was nothing for Dragon Ball, which obviously is very unfortunate, which probably means that all of the November and the December stuff for Dragon Ball is photo banned. So probably we may only see some of the October stuff, which is kind of unfortunate. And we did get a release date for Buuhan. They will be early October in Japan, so that is pretty cool. We'll definitely be waiting patiently for these bad boys. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about earlier in the video. You can see that the DXF Ultimate Gohan certainly has a lot more shading than the final Gohan Beast version of the figure, which is kind of unfortunate, to be honest. I definitely prefer a little bit of shading on the figures because I feel like it makes them a little bit more quality looking, but you can definitely tell. I mean, it literally looks like Gohan's been hitting the beach on the Ultimate version, and on the final of the Beast version, he looks like he is pretty pasty, though maybe that's supposed to be like representing how he looked in that scene where all like the bright lights were on him or something like that. I don't know. That's just my justification for Bandai's silly decisions. Yeah, so unfortunately, all of Dragon Ball and One Piece was photo banned again. Second time for Dragon Ball and third time for One Piece, which is crazy. So that means we didn't even get to see the October stuff, which is crazy. Obviously, we do know what is going to be coming, kind of. Obviously, we don't know the images of what they look like, but as you can see here, right, of course, BOS Special, you know, the Shinron Plush History Box Volume 9, Clear Rise, Majin Vegeta, Solid Edgeworks 14 in November, and then in December, Metal Cooler, the DBZ BOS Broly, the Matchmakers, Goku and Vegeta for Kaioken and Galakan, and then the Raccoon at GxMateria. Again, we talked about these guys in the last video, but yeah, very unfortunate. Because that means that we will have to wait about a month until the November production images drop, and about 10 weeks until the December ones drop Very, very long wait. But unfortunately, that's how it is right now when it comes to prize figures. So it is what it is. We do have a couple more pictures, by the way, of Goku. We did take a look at all of these on the Instagram page. However, we did not see this one, I believe, because this was from a little like video that you could spin around of the figure that I saw somewhere. I don't know where it was, unfortunately. I literally can't remember. Otherwise, I would have pulled it up for this video. But very, very cool. Obviously, this is the front-facing angle for this guy, and this is what he looked like on display, which was pretty cool at the prize fair. It definitely looks great. Like, that facial expression is just crazy good, dude. Holy cow. I do kind of wish that you could hide the knees a little bit better, but especially on a figure where they don't have, like, as much, you know, pants on my boy. Obviously, you know, that's just kind of, I guess, what you gotta sacrifice for the articulation, so it is what it is. June, Geo Dragon Ball store numbers: GxMateria, Goku 94, Trunks 87, and Gohan. Holy cow! 169. That is crazy, even for a figure that is just a reused, you know, literal reuse sculpt. Literally, they just changed the color of my man's gi, unfortunately, and didn't give us anything new. Still kind of wild, to be honest with you, that guy is still crushing. I mean, that should go to show you not only how popular Gohan is, but obviously with the movie, how popular he has become in recent time. We also have some more images of Trunks. We do have my man, oh boy, I think it's Riku or Ryuku, something like that. Again, I apologize, I probably butchered it. But he tweeting about the fact that he, as you can see, we delivered, or I guess we received, rather. I mean, technically he delivered because, you know, he delivered on the sculpt for sure. We received the 11th sample of the Solid Edgeworks, the Departure, right? I'm sure this means, like, Solid Edgeworks 11, not like the 11th sample, because I think Google Translate's just being silly. Thank you for your feedback. I made it handsome, so you can join it from various angles. Please pick it up and enjoy. The prototype is a joint production with Joe, and the coloring is from this individual, which I've actually never heard of before, but we have seen Joe multiple times on this series before. He is another figure sculptor, and it seems like this guy worked with Joe on this figure, which is pretty cool, and definitely turned out great. Like, dude, look at that angle. Holy cow, that's great. Definitely very, very good looking figure. I am pretty pleased with how that guy turned out. And as you can see, we also have one more image. I guess he just likes the base form one better. As you can see, very, very good looking for my boy. Definitely very excited. And of course, with both of the boys side by side, they also look pretty good. And I agree, this is a little bit of a different angle than we saw with those first couple of images of these guys earlier in this video. And they definitely look great from this angle too. So that is pretty cool. It would be awesome as well to kind of maybe give them like a custom sword piece as well, because I'm pretty sure Trunks still has a sword in these scenes. I think so. I think it gets broken at some point in this movie. I haven't seen the BoJack movie in a little bit. I have to rewatch it to remember, but that would also be pretty cool. But yeah, definitely very good looking for sure. And that is actually it in terms of what Baggy has for us for figures this bi-weekly video. I did find the little 360 thing, by the way, so I figured I might as well include this at the end of the video if you stuck around. Obviously, we can get a very nice little 360 of the figure. They do this on the Tamashii Nation's website. I was like, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure that's where I saw it, which is pretty cool. They did this for Gohan Beast as well, and we did this in his video where we took a look at this. Pretty cool. Again, I still feel like, unfortunately, that's just kind of how it's got to be with the articulation on the arms, right? Looking kind of a little weird with the skin texture. But I will say he definitely has a little bit of a butt flap, speaking of butt, unfortunately. But I think overall the sculpt looks really good. I gotta say, they definitely nailed it on the Namek Saga hair. Very big, very poofy. I think they did a very, very good job on my boy for sure. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of everything that we covered in today's video in the comment section below. I am definitely very, very excited for this figure, as well as, of course, Vegito and Buuhan. Obviously, all very exciting stuff that we have coming up down the pipeline. It's always nice. Like, it's kind of crazy to me how often they, you know, announce stuff for figures, because I feel like every week I'm like, surely there's going to be, you know, no brand new figures to talk about. And I feel like you know, every 2 weeks at least, you know, that's how I kind of space out this series. There's always something new to talk about, so that's always pretty cool. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you're going to be picking up any of the figures that we talked about in this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Dokkan Assets out. Peace.